So our side control is one of the three main pins that I teach as we start laying a foundation for our system. The other two being back control and the mount. Our side control is going to be for the system, any of the positions where I take a side-on orientation, hips and head, angling across and intersecting my opponent's torso and his spine. But in a traditional sense, a side control is very specifically this cross-body alignment where my spine crosses his spine, and I'm generally looking for a crossface and underhook from the position. We're gonna have a few different alignments that we might use as we go building a system and actually learning different movements that we can go for. Different wedges that I create around my opponent's body that hold him in place and allow me to move through our different variations. But for us, all of those are going to be within the umbrella of side control because we're keeping this side-on orientation. Even when I'm in a north-south position, I'm not truly vertically aligned with my partner. I'm cross-body with my head generally tucked into the far side hip and the rest of my body up here pressuring and controlling at the near side shoulder. So even that, we're gonna generally consider part of our side control system. Now, the wedges that you're generally gonna be looking for if you are trying to understand the position is knees, under shoulder, and hip, all right? I wanna be wedged up under here, and when I say wedges, think about it in terms of a doorstop. I want to slide myself in and form a connection that limits his ability to move. The same way a small doorstop can stop a large door, I want these small points of connection to do the heavy lifting of immobilizing him. If I'm constantly trying to weigh down heavy, that's exhausting for me, and it's also not taking full advantage of how our bodies can lock up. I could be fully heavy on top of my opponent, but if I don't have wedges, he's gonna be able to easily shrimp back in and get me into a position where I'm now fighting for control again. Compare that to if I go no weight at all, but I bring my wedges where I want them to be. Now when Connor goes to move around, it's much harder to find the space to get his leg inside. So as we're thinking about our pins, we want to think in terms of not just the weight and pressure that we can create, but the wedges and doorstops that we can force in the gaps. A lot of times inside gaps, inside the neck, under the arm. When we get into this inside position game and start playing with wedges, we can really lock them down, whether it's our side control or our mount. Both of those are going to involve this same type of connection. So we have knee under shoulder and knee under hip. And this is going to make it difficult for my opponent to form a knee-elbow connection in the space between us. With my upper body, turn a little bit, I'm generally looking for this cross face where I reach under the shoulder. I get some type of anchoring grip on the far shoulder, and then I apply some pressure into him to make it difficult for him to turn back towards me. On the other side, my number one grip that I'm teaching day one is an underhook. This is gonna make it difficult for him to scoop his own underhook and start turning into me. The two main ways that we're gonna be looking at to get out of here are gonna be that knee-elbow connection and utilizing the underhook. From an offensive perspective, I want to always, when I'm in a top position, be ready to transition. Whether that is moving into a better spot or just simply not getting so much tunnel vision on what I have that I allow them to take that and more away from me. Maybe reversing me over the top, holding on too tight, getting rolled to my back. I want to be ready to move with the flow of the match. So a couple ways that we're going to first and foremost be looking at transitioning out of the side control are going to be proactively moving through towards the mount, taking our underhook and using that to open up space so we can make it all the way to the mount without a knee elbow connection on this side. Or there are going to be some situations where we are reacting and transitioning. So let's say Connor fights this arm out and starts turning away from me. I don't want to fight after the side control so hard that I miss the opportunity to get behind his shoulder and work into a back take. So always be ready to transition when the opportunity presents itself. Just like it from the front headlock, when our opponent reaches up to defend the neck, we cut bait and we move towards the back. From here, when I see a big gap and I can move from side control, which I don't find to be the most, this would be bottom of the 3 pins that we look at for me. I think there are a lot of guys that have a lot of luck from here, but personally, I like to advance to the mount or to the back where I can attack a little bit more freely without worrying about him getting right back to a guard as easily. As an additional note, when we are in the no-gi, I generally don't teach a lot of knee on belly specific things. I think that knee on belly is a lot looser and it becomes a lot easier to get your leg taken off in no-gi when I pop up high for a knee on belly and give him space to move his hips around. So for me and how I generally teach, I am using the knee in this space almost specifically as a way to cut across to the mount. I'm not really setting up in a knee on belly nearly as much as I would if I were in a gi and I had a belt grip and a collar grip here where I could lock him in and really drive that knee through. From this side control position, the 2 main submissions that I start teaching my students are a far side armbar or a Kimura. Both generally are happening on the far side arm. Defensively, the name of the game is to unwind these wedges that he's formed around me. The main battles that I'm going to fight are either knee and elbow connection, where I would try to shrimp. I generally try to start opening this space up, free my near side arm, and then bring my knee, go ahead and pop up real quick. Bring my knee and elbow together to close off this gap at my hips so that he's not able to actually pin me to the floor, at least not my hips. Another way that I might escape would be fighting for an underhook and then building my way up to the knees so that I can wrestle my way out of the situation. Both of these styles of escaping are going to require us to keep our arms fairly close to our body without getting overly extended, where we start getting submitted and, sent up to the stands to watch the rest of the people do jiu-jitsu. Side control as a position scores 0 points. However, where people generally, a lot of times, get to side control from is a guard pass, and that will score points. If you are new to the sport, what I mean by that, just like open guard here, is that if I were to just move from a mount and hop off and go to side control, I score no points. But if I am fighting the guard, which is pretty offensive for him, and I move my way around and I settle into the side control, this counts as a passing, a passed position. So the referee would start counting points, but I wouldn't get any additional points. Whereas if I were in the mount, let's say I came out and my partner's legs were just dead fish. Not only do I get my passing points, 1, 2, 3, the referee's gonna hold up his fingers for that, then he'll hold up his fingers for my mount points as well. So I kind of double dipped into the point pot. And now I've scored loads of points, went up very quickly. So when we talk about moving from side control to mount, we are talking about scoring points in that transition, because the mount as a position offers points. But when we move into the side position, don't expect the ref to start counting any points if it wasn't followed up by, or if it wasn't following a guard pass.